What's up, my fellow Michiganians, Michiganders, whatever you happen to call yourselves? Welcome to Wolverine State Sports Talk, and for the first time in a while, I'm going to do a weekly Wolverine podcast where I do a small assessment of every team in this state, other than the Michigan State Spartans. So, the Wolverines, the Red Wings, Tigers, Pistons, and Lions. In terms of the team to start out with, it was tough to choose between the Red Wings and the Pistons because, the Pistons just played their Summer League game last night, and the Red Wings you know, just had their draft. I'm going to start off with the Detroit Red Wings. So on the first draft pick, I really wanted Savoy at that 9 spot, but you know what? One thing you learn about Steve Yzerman, he's not going to do what you want. He's going to do what he thinks is best. And ultimately, I can't really complain about it because it's worked out. Everybody thought that Mo Sider was a reach, and he just won Rookie of the Year. I don't know if anyone thought Lucas Raymond was a reach, but nobody thought that he would be one of the best players in that draft class, and right now he's looking like it. Lucas Raymond was spectacular last year. So for this pick, I can't really say anything bad about it. So, taking a look at the Red Wings' first pick, Marco Kasper, I'm hearing a lot of people say that his numbers weren't very impressive, and that's the main knock that they have against him. Well, I'll say this. If you look at the stats of Mo Sider and you look at the stats of Lucas Raymond, they actually weren't that impressive before they got drafted. Just pulling up Lucas Raymond's stats, the year before he got drafted, in the same league that Kasper plays in, Raymond scored 10 points in 33 games. Definitely nothing spectacular, and Kasper with 11 points in 46 games, maybe slightly worse. But I think if we've seen one thing is that a player who's 18, you got to take the numbers in the Swedish league with a grain of salt because I think it's a U20 league, so you're competing against 19 and 20-year-olds, and there's a big difference there. I think in Sweden the culture is that the younger players don't get as many minutes, but the players closer to 20 do get minutes because if the best players were getting all the minutes, Sider and Raymond would have been hogging up the ice time. But I don't think that's something to worry about. Now Kasper isn't a flashy player, and I don't expect him to be as good as Sider and Raymond, but he does seem like a solid playmaker. He's a facilitator. He can set things up. Very good hockey IQ. That's what Steve Yzerman liked about him. Hey, I mean, so far his draft evaluation has been rock solid, so I don't think there's any reason to be upset with this one. Even if he's not as flashy as Savoy, the truth is you need piano carriers on your team as much as you need piano players. You need those tough and rough guys that are willing to go on the boards. Not necessarily hog up all the shots. So should definitely help this Red Wings team. I'm not sure if he's going to be able to make an immediate impact. Um, it's probably going to take him at least 2 to 3 years. So basically, he's going to be the backup to Larkin at center. The Red Wings also did another big thing, trading for goaltender. So trading with Steve Yzerman usually is not a very good idea, and I think the St. Louis Blues just figured that out. Although for them, it actually wasn't a terrible trade because they had to get rid of the player and get something for him because otherwise he was just going to walk in free agency. So this player, his name is Villie Husso, and Husso was the backup goalie with the St. Louis Blues last year, but saw plenty of ice time, and in his second NHL season looked very good. So he's 27 years old. Last year, only gave up 2.5 goals a game, had a 920 save percentage, and I'd say that's pretty darn good. Now, I don't know if he'll have the same numbers with the Red Wings because kind of like Alex Nedeljkovic, the Red Wings defense was absolutely atrocious last year. And while I do expect some improvement, I don't expect it to be anywhere near the top teams in the NHL. Mo Sider can't skate on the ice for 60 minutes. They might add one or two guys in free agency. Hronek is decent. Otherwise, this is going to be a terrible defense. So hone your expectations a little bit for Husso. But I think him, Nedeljkovic, and eventually when Costa gets called up, they could be a big part of the future. The question is this a sign that Steve Yzerman is going to splurge in free agency? Or is this a sign that he's going to let Costa develop in the minor leagues a little bit more? Because Costa's been absolutely brilliant in the minor leagues. He's been saving almost every shot. But with goaltender, usually it takes a while to come up. And 25 and 27 is very young for goaltenders. And Costa, I think, is like 20 years old. So I'm not too worried about that. I think that right now, if you're the Red Wings, you have a pretty good situation in net, which is a big deal. You know, Nedeljkovic, even though his stats weren't good last year, the talent is there. He has so much talent. And hopefully with the Londic coach, you know, we stop some of the breakaways, and that can help his statistics just a little bit. And same here with Husso, you know. Pretty good goaltender. Hopefully he won't have to face a lot of high percentage shots. So overall, last couple days have been great for the Detroit Red Wings. Got the guy that they needed. Got the goaltender that they needed. And you know what? Didn't open a lot of eyes. Didn't Not a lot of oohs and ahs, kind of like the Pistons draft. But Steve Yzerman doesn't care. Steve Yzerman's going to take who he thinks is the best player. And I think that he got a couple of guys that can help this team in the future. All right, up next, the Detroit Pistons and their Summer League. Some thoughts on that? Stay tuned.